What is up, everybody? Skratch here. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. We are currently on the test server, guys, and we're gonna showcase you a new unkillable team with Demytha without using any other block damage champion or any other unkillable champion. This team is gonna work on every single affinity, on every single difficulty of the clan bosses. It's pretty much the same thing like the Bad Eater, just with Demytha in a much better version in a way or another. Now, while we were doing this team, we were pretty pressured with the time, guys, okay? So we tried many different things to make it work with 2 DPSers to make more damage out of it. We had a bit of a struggle, and we had to use a block debuffs champion, and we had Brogni in the team. Now, while we were doing that, we kind of thought about using a reflex set on different champions. But because we were pressed by the time, we weren't able to re-record the video, so it might be a bit of a mess. But we have an intermission. Make sure you're paying attention to all those details if you want to find out how to make the team work without using Brogni in the team. So stay tuned, let's jump straight into it. In this video, guys, we brought you an unkillable team with Demytha and no one else. So I have on the channel today, guys, the Dragon's Beard. Make sure you guys go over right now and subscribe. Drop him that subscribe, guys. It doesn't cost you nothing. Show him some love, because at the end of the day, he's here helping all of you guys out to figure out a new team, right? What's up, buddy? How are you doing? You want to tell us a couple of things about yourself?
For sure, yeah. So I'm the Dragon's Beard. I've been doing Raid for about a year and a half now, and YouTube since kind of the end of last year. So just got the channel started up. I've got like 13, 14 videos. So it's awesome to be on here and hop in and see the team in action since I don't have the test server.
Awesome stuff. Glad to have you here, guys. Yeah, so he came up with some speeds to make it work on a 3-to-1 ratio, more or less. Not all of the champions, they're gonna go on a 3-to-1 ratio. Let me actually pull up the calculator right here. So you're gonna need High Cartoon, you're gonna need the Seeker, you're gonna need a Demytha, of course. That's the whole thing behind it. But, because there's always a but, for the moment, we had a bit of an issue in making it work without any sort of block debuffs champion. So we gotta use Brogni in this team, guys. We had a bit of a struggle because Seeker has a weird passive when he places increased defense once he get a crit hit. And the stun was randomly going on Demytha just because she was dropping the increased defense. So we had a bit of a problem there. We're working maybe to make a team with somebody else instead. Maybe we're gonna use a Deacon Armstrong instead of Seeker and bring in another DPS instead of Brogni. Now, you want to tell us a couple of things about the team. Is it working on every single affinity? Is it working on every single difficulty as well? What's the whole situation with this team?
Yeah, so with Brogni, it does work on every affinity. It's going to be actually full auto from the beginning with Brogni against Void, against Force, and against Magic. So with Spirit, you've got to play with the delays a little bit to make sure that that first affinity debuff doesn't cause the speeds to fall out of whack. But the way that he sets it up, he's got the block debuffs for AoE 2 every single time, and he's got it for the stun as well.
Gotcha. And difficulties works only on Ultra Nightmare. It works on Nightmare, Brutal, just for Ultra Nightmare.
These specific speeds that we're going to be using in the video will work from Ultra Nightmare all the way down to Hard. The delays are slightly different on Hard.
Okay, so Nightmare and Brutal should be the exactly same thing, guys. I already knew that. I just wanted him to confirm it and you guys to hear it as well. So if you look on Nightmare, the exact same speeds, the exact same rotation, we are covered with block damage every single turn. Then, if you're going on Brutal, will be almost the same thing. We're just gonna have a slower kickoff in being in full sync, starting from turn 4 instead of turn 3. But rather than that, everything is on point, guys. Nothing else to worry about. You might be having a bit of a kickoff here with Seeker, but because he already has block debuffs, you shouldn't really be having a problem in worrying about the stun on that place right there. Pretty easy to set up. Now, in terms of speeds, guys, we're going to use High Cartoon as lead, okay? That's why we kind of had a bit of a bigger problem with the stun as well. It's such an awful thing to figure out. A lot of things getting involved when we're talking about stuns, you know? So we have the highest champion. That includes that we have a speed aura right here, a 19% from High Cartoon, is a 274. That's the minimum you can get on that champion. You cannot, I think 273, no, 273 is not working anymore. 274 is the minimum, and that's with 3 speed sets. How you guys can see here, the true speed is 293.09. If you're looking at Haikatun, she's the second fastest champion in the team, 255. So what the Dragon did right here, guys, he went for the lowest possible speeds that you guys can achieve to make it easier for you guys to get it done. Now, you need a Brogni. So if you got the fusion, if you pulled one, you're going to be able to run it like this. We haven't had a chance to look more in different champions that have block debuffs, because there are not many that have block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns, okay? So that's the only problem. He might be the only one working at the moment, at least on this rotation in this team. If we're finding out anything else down the line, we're gonna let you know either in the next video, either we're gonna let you know in the comments down below, so you guys can find out. Maybe we missed something, and some of you might know something else. Please let us know in the comments down below as well. Quick intermission, we did discover that we can replace Brogni with a block debuff champion that has that skill on a 4-turn cooldown, but it puts the buff for a 2-turn cooldown, and use the champion on a reflex set. That's gonna work. Make sure you're watching that part at the end of the video, because we've been really pressed by the time, guys, and we didn't have time to re-record the whole thing again. I had to kind of cut through it and put that part at the back to see that it works without using Brogni. So we have Haikatun right here, 255 speed. That's after the aura, guys. You see the true speed gets to 275. Then we have Seeker at 180 speed, 199 after the aura. We have Underpriest Brogni at 169, 188 after the aura. And we have Dracomorph at 146, 164 after the aura. The speeds are not insane, honestly, because we have the speed aura. These speeds are actually accessible for the majority of people. I have a free-to-play account, 60 days old. I already have a champion at 260 speed, okay? So if I can do that in 60 days, a lot of you guys can do that in more than 60 days, you know? The main idea is that these are the lowest you can get. You cannot juggle around with the speeds, just run them one lower or anything like that, unfortunately. So that's your limit. Make sure you're using the calculator while you're building up your team. I will be leaving this link in the pinned comments as well, so you guys can get it and use it if you need. But that being said, let me show you quickly a run. So that's the team right here, guys. Now, if we're looking at the team setup, we do have a couple of things that we gotta click on to make sure this team is gonna run on full aura. On Haikatun, we're just gonna block the A3 because it doesn't deal much damage. I think the A1 deals a bit extra damage than the A3. On Dracomorph, he's the only champion that can kind of be replaced in this team at the moment. If you have a Fane, if you have a Occult Brawler, if you have... What other champions we have out there that can work? We have a Frozen Banshee, bunch of champions.
You can use Banshee. Easy 2-key with just a Poisoner. Yeah,
definitely easy 2-key. So probably a lot of you guys don't have access to Dracomorph. You don't have access to these builds that I have on the champions. You're gonna see that I'm pushing the team to the extreme, to the limits. I wanna see the true potential in terms of damage. But if you're not able to 2-key it, guys, you're gonna be able to go and 1-key it. So if you don't have a Man-Eater, you don't have an Unkillable team, you don't have a team that can 2-key Ultra Nightmare and your gear is kind of trashy, this is the team for you as long as you can achieve the speeds. So that's on Dracomorph. On Seeker, we don't change nothing. On Underpriest Brogni, we don't change nothing. Only on Spirit Affinity, I think, Dragon, we have some delay, right?
Yep. Yeah, you'll have to delay him by a turn or two just to get the AoE 2 block. That way you don't get the speed debuff. And then you'll save it for a couple extra turns and then use it on the 4th clan boss turn as well.
Awesome. So that's what you gotta do for this team to work on Spirit, guys. On Demytha, you're gonna put Opener on the A1. You're gonna put her to prioritize the A2. Like this, the team is gonna be on full auto from the very start. So how you're about to see right now, guys, just here. I'm gonna show you after the total stats on the champions, masteries. But the team is gonna work like a charm from here on. And how is your day going, Dragon? Any plans?
It's early in the morning for me. Yeah, the time zone change, you know, or like being in here with you, like I had to get up bright and early to get this recorded before the kids were up.
We got him up and early, guys. It's like 7 a.m. for the man right now. The kids and the wife still asleep, so we had to make sure we wake him up early so we can do the video, you know.
Absolutely, but it's worth it, right? I get to see this. You know, I've been wanting to put this together as soon as I got Demytha, but I'm only like halfway there on the fragments. So the chance that you had to do this on test server was pretty sweet.
That's awesome. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, so I do have to call out a little bit of credit to the Deadwood Jedi guys. The theory crafting channel over there is amazing. There's always a few people lurking in there talking about new comps and new teams. And when Demytha came out, it really just popped off in terms of everybody figuring out what they could do. So Face Melter has been back and forth with me in the DMs all the time, just trying to figure out, hey, what we're going to do next. This team was the speeds, the initial speeds from Blunt Guts. I was trying to discover the exact same thing, and then he beat me to the punch because getting Haikatun in there as the lead. So huge thanks to those guys over there. And then also those of us that helped slot Brogni in here to be able to block the debuffs was kind of what made this work, because we tried it a few times without that, like you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to the guys as well. It was a problem. Like, I really want to get it done with 2 DPSers because I feel like it's going to be over 100 million damage with a team of my caliber right here. And it's going to make it much easier for the majority of people to reach 1 key, you know? So I think, like, if we can take Seeker out, which is going to be possible, take Seeker out, bring in Dink and Armstrong, we're going to have to raise a bit of speeds. And then instead of Brogni, which is not going to work on Spirit Affinity, guys, just one thing to mention. And it might not work on every single difficulty of the clan boss. But we're going to bring in either a Krayla the Witch Charm to have increased attack as well next to Fane or Dracomorph, or we're going to bring in a Brackus to give us attack up, give us some extra damage in there as well. So I feel like we could make that work. But I'm not sure how good it's going to be overall, you know, in terms of speeds and everything, how accessible it's going to be.
For sure. Like when you were trying Vizier, I think we were getting it till like the 30s or 40s for turn count, and then randomly it would get Demytha to be stunned, so that's kind of why we brought in Brogni.
Exactly. The problem was that Seeker getting the crit, and if I remember it correctly, his passive is on a 5-turn cooldown, so regardless how the RNG is gonna drop, we never know if he's... We got to turn 45, okay? We got to turn 45 without a problem, but then, bang, the stand dropped on her, so that was a problem again. It's all about his passive, like... out of nowhere, he's gonna get a crit hit. We don't know when he's gonna get a crit hit. We can't really control that on the clan boss. Unless... No, we cannot do that either, because he starts with 50 crit rate, the clan boss, right? Or what's his basic crit rate? 50, I think, yeah?
I think it might be 15, but yeah, like if you have the debuff to bring that in to reduce it to 0, we're not quite sure.
That's what I was just thinking now, but I don't think it's 15. I have a feeling that it's 50. I'm not sure. I gotta look into it afterwards, guys. I will keep you posted. If we're gonna be able to bring a champion that decreases crit rate as the second DPSer, that might work without Brogni, but I'm not 100% sure yet. If we're gonna be able to do that, we're gonna drop a following video, either on my channel, either on his channel. So stay tuned for it, okay? So you guys can see it in action. But we're doing pretty good. Done 12, 18 million damage so far.
Yeah, I think that the HP burn actually just kept Weaken from going up there, so that's gonna
take a bit of damage down, yeah.
It's almost like Draco's putting up too much poison.
He will be getting to put up too much, unfortunately. I think Weaken missed again, didn't it? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because he tried to throw it up again, and the bar was full.
That's
why having Vizier here would have been awesome. Just as far
I know,
yeah.
That damage was going 100+ million, guys, with Vizier instead of Brogni. It was actually crazy, but unfortunately, we haven't managed to sort out the stun. Some of you guys might be able to tell us something that we don't know. We've seen that defense up gets ignored by the boss as well. So if 3 champions, they're going to have defense up and the other ones they won't, the boss is going to ignore the champions with defense up and they're going to go for the other one. So there are a lot of buffs that they get ignored by the boss, knowing that he cannot do as much damage on those champions, you know. It's not a dumb boss. He's pretty smart, actually, this clan boss of ours.
Do you want to talk about the masteries that we're trying to use for moving the stun around, or?
Yeah, we can talk now about it, actually. So it's all about running stat-fast masteries on the champions as well, guys, especially on the thermometer boosters, not on the DPSers. So at first, we thought that Demytha was the highest HP in the team, so we thought that maybe that somehow is affecting the stun. So I said, okay, I'm going to trick the clan boss by making Vizier the highest HP, while I keep Dracomorph the lowest HP, so he still gets the stun. How you guys can see right here, the stun goes on him constantly. And was not the case. Then I was like, oh, I'm going to give her a Blood Shield ring. Then I was like, wait, that's not going to count, because it's going to drop off by the 3rd turn, because she's going to use the A1 on the 1st turn, and then she's going to get 2 more turns by the time she gets to put the block damage, and it's still not working. So masteries are very important as well to have stat fast on your Terminator boosters. Like that, you're gonna avoid the stun on them by a bit. It's not guaranteed that because you have the mastery, they're not gonna get the stun, but that is another tick that makes the clan boss to move away from those champions towards the champions that don't have that mastery, even if they have more buffs on them, you know.
Yeah, none of that matters with Brogni because it doesn't matter who it goes to. Everybody has the block debuffs for this specific version of it.
That's the good part with it, that we have Brogni here making sure that we have block debuffs. Unfortunately, I can't really recall any other champion that has block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown and is for 2 turns. I don't think we have any other champion that has that, huh?
No, because yeah, we have Marked, but she's only got that 1-turn duration, which isn't super useful because it's going to fall off right away.
The only thing that I'm thinking of, I'm not sure if it's gonna stay like that. If we have Scatix, for example, if we have the one from what's his name? I forgot the name. Give me a second, I'll remember the name. Not Longbeard, it's like his bigger brother. You remember it?
No,
the cleanser from that faction.
Hackhorn?
Smash Lord. If we're blocking the rest of the skills, leaving only the cleans with what's the name of that set now? I literally just have a big brain fart, guys. So if we have the reflex set on those champions with the rest of the skills blocked, that 40% decrease cooldown might bring it down on a 3-turn cooldown every single time. So that might be an idea, but I'm not 100% sure if it's gonna be guaranteed that's gonna stay with the buff up, you know.
I keep seeing all the buffs on Draco, and it makes me really want to use my Turvold, but that's another can worm.
Yeah, it's not bad. So we're actually on turn 25 with 40 million damage. So that's actually pretty bonkers. We are getting 80 plus million damage with this team. So definitely, guys, super easy to get 2 keys as long as you are able to achieve the speeds and you have the champions, you know. Dracomorph, how I specified, he's the only champion that you can replace at this very moment. Now down the line, I'll be trying what I just said with reflex sets on one of those champions to see if we're able to keep that block debuffs buff on the team. We haven't been able to test a million things this morning and since last night as well, because he had to wake up super early, okay? So we had to jump on and do this as well, but we're gonna go down the line and test more things, and we're gonna keep you posted as well, just if anything else works. But from here on, we're gonna fast forward towards the end, guys, where we're gonna see the total damage, show you the build on the champions, and we're gonna talk a bit more about the masteries. And here we are, guys, near the end. Turn 49, 80 plus million damage. The team is definitely putting in some work, 100%. So if you have these champions, but you don't really have the gear that I have, you will still be getting to 1 key without a problem, at least on a Void Affinity. So we have High Cartoon with 10.5 million damage, Dracomorph with 37 million damage, Seeker with 13.8, Demytha with 6.2, Underpriest Brogni with 13.4. Now, if you're not using Dracomorph and you're using Feign, you definitely want to bring in here at least 1 toxic set at a minimum. Like that, you're going to keep up the poison bar near full. If not, you might have to bring 2 toxic sets. That will bump up your damage and will still bring you to 1 key territory as long as you're using toxic sets. If you have a Balanor can help you as well, guys. Increase crit rate, defense down, weaken, but you gotta use probably like 4 or 5 toxic sets, which is not as accessible, at least on the Demytha and High Cartoon. But you might be able to get 3 toxic sets and get near 1 key territory. You're gonna get an increased crit rate buff as well from it. You still wanna keep the same lead though. You wanna have High Cartoon in the lead to make sure you are getting the speeds on the point there. Now, let me quickly show you the champions, guys. Let's see the stats that we have on them, masteries. So we're gonna start with Brogni. So I have him built on a crit set, crit damage set, sorry, an accuracy, and a HP set. And we have 57k HP, 3-point-something K attack, 169 speed, 93 crit rate, 255 crit damage, 244 accuracy. In terms of masteries, because his passive does not interact with block damage, it's no point to give him Giant Slayer. That will actually make us lose damage, so we gave him tier 6 War Master. If his passive would work with the block damage, then yeah, we want to get Giant Slayer because this is still broken. Not like a Geomancer anymore. But the next champion we have on the list, guys, is no one else but Draco. Now, let me make sure I'm picking up the right one. There we go. So he's on all sort of broken sets here. The main thing that I wanted to make sure I'm taking is the right speed. So he's on 146 speed, 6.3k attack, full crit rate, 271 crit damage, 258 accuracy. Now, honestly, the speed, you might be having problems in getting such a low speed rather than such a high speed, because it's pretty low. So you gotta make sure you have a lot of pieces that barely have any speed on them. Then we have Demytha, the fastest champion. Mastery, sorry, on Dracomorph, I forgot to drop them in here for you guys. We have offense and defense 3. I don't really want to get support. I don't really want to go on Master Hexer with Draco, because I feel like extending one poison can make me lose defense down or stuff like that. So overall, I feel like I'll be losing on damage there, and I haven't changed the masteries from the Barrier comp on him, honestly. We have Demytha. She is the fastest champion in the team. 3 speed sets. Total stats, 42,000 HP, 2.8k attack, 2.4k defense, 275 speed, a bit of an overkill on crit rate here. We have 109, 218 crit damage, and masteries, we have offense and statfast. So I thought as well that on the stun, even though all of them, they're going to be on full HP, I thought that maybe Lay of Hands somehow is affecting the stun. She heals the rest of the team more than she gets healed herself, and that might create a bit of an issue on the stun, but it's not the case. So you can actually fill up all the masteries down the way till here. You want to avoid in getting lasting gifts if you're going to try and make it work without a Brogni, because you don't want to have more buffs on different champions than on other champions to make sure the right one gets the stun. You definitely want to avoid Cycle of Magic, and you want to avoid every mastery that increases thermometer on every single champion, just to make sure we're going to be on point on that. And we have Seeker and High Cartoon left here to show you guys. And we are just here. So this is my Seeker, 40,000 HP, 3.6k attack, 2.3k defense, 180 speed. Again, a bit of an overkill on crit rate. It's a bit harder for me to get the speeds. 270 crit damage. And masteries, same situation. Like, honestly, it's not much I could give Seeker from the rest of the support tree. I just wanted to make sure he has statfast when we try to make the team with without Underpriest Brogni. But with Brogni, honestly, you don't need to worry about it. Just avoid rapid response, avoid Cycle of Magic, and you're gonna be more than fine. And we have the last champion, which is High Cartoon, a champion that personally I haven't used much on my account, guys. I'm not gonna lie about it. And there she is, 3 speed sets as well. Total stats, 37,000 HP, 3.5k attack, 2.4k defense, 255 speed, 109 crit rate, 211 crit damage. And in terms of masteries, guys, tier 6 War Master and statfast on her, and we went all the way down here, which it doesn't make sense, but I just wanted to fill up the masteries. I have 1 red dot less on the screen. Those are all the champions, guys. Dragonbeard, a pleasure to have you on the channel, buddy. If you want to say anything else, if you want to add anything else on it.
Much appreciated. I love that you invited me on here to kind of showcase this for you again. I just can't stress enough. I couldn't have done this without the other people from the Deadwood Jedi Discord. Super helpful folks over there. And then the speed ranges and all that we'll kind of put together. That way you can kind of see what wiggle room you have as far as the speeds that work. And then you can test that in the calculator too.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for being on the channel. Big shout out to the rest of the guys that helped out with the team, guys. Don't forget, go over to his channel and subscribe, guys. You will be finding the link in the description down below and in the pinned comments. Much love to all of you watching, and I'll catch you all soon on another video. Till then, peace out.
There's only one stun left, right?
Yep. Guys, we made it happen. So we changed Brogni for Scatix. We put him on a reflex set, and guess what? It's working. Turn 46, 71 million damage. Is guaranteed with the reflex set on a 4-turn cooldown. He's gonna get it back. He's gonna use the block debuffs buff right before the stun every single time. The only thing is, this is not gonna work on Spirit the way it is right here, guys. But the main thing is, so far it's working. This is the first run that we've done, and it's working. It might have a bit of an RNG to it, but if the math is correct, we should always have block debuffs on the stun regardless. So I'm going to show you the build in a second. The Dragon Bear, he's going to have to run out in a second, but I'm going to show you all the build on him. We already seen the build on the rest of the champions, and it's working, guys. It's working. And we forgot to mention Cardiel. We forgot to mention Blinds here. They could replace Brogni if by any chance you have a Void Legendary champion to replace him. So yeah, it's actually going to be better with the Cardiel. He's going to deal tons of damage. I don't personally own him. I'm not a big fan of Blinds here in the longer run, so I haven't used them much, you know. But there we go, turn 50. We've done it, man. We've done it. Look at that, beautiful. Scatic, 7.2 million damage as well. We dealt around 6 million less damage than with Brogni. The main idea, guys, is this is going to be an easy 2-key. If you have a Feign instead of Dracomorph, a full epic 2-key Ultra Nightmare team, works for Nightmare, works for Brutal. It just doesn't work for Spirit, okay? So that's the only problem. It's not going to work on Spirit, but it's going to work on everything else. So let me quickly show you the build on Scatics as well. Reflex set is a must. It's not going to work without that. That's the only other problem. You got to farm a bit of Ice Golem. So that's the speed, 171, full crit rate, 214 crit damage. The rest of the stats don't really matter. What matters is to have this skill right here on a 4-turn cooldown, have a block debuffs for 2 turns, and have a reflex set. So many other champions that they have the same skill can replace him, but it needs to be on a 4-turn cooldown and put the buff for 2 turns, sorry. And it's gonna work with a reflex set, at least so far. I don't think it's gonna fail. At least I don't think we got that lucky this time around, you know.
I know, that's 12 stuns or more than that, 15, 16 stuns in a row.
Yeah. So we had to do this intermission, guys, because we had to show you that it works without Brogni as well. That was all. Peace.